The medical station on Crosspoint 7 was always busy. Ships came and went every day. Traders, miners, explorers, and travelers from 100 different worlds walked through its halls. But today was different. Today, the emergency alarms were screaming. Bellamora moved her 6 legs quickly across the white floor. She was the chief healer at the station. Her species, the Tetherians, were known across the galaxy as the best healers. Their 4 eyes could see things others missed. Their knowledge of alien bodies was complete. But right now, Velmora felt something she rarely felt. She felt afraid. 2 humans ran beside her. One was Yunwu, a young engineer with grease on his face and fear in his eyes. The other was Jia, a communications officer who kept wiping tears from her cheeks. "How bad is it?" Yunwu asked. His voice shook. Bellamora did not want to answer. She had seen the readings. She had seen the scans. No one survived injuries like this. Not Titharians. Not Vryn, not Zinthari. Not anyone. "Very bad," she finally said. They reached the emergency room. The doors opened with a soft hiss. Inside, 3 medical assistants stood around a bed. On the bed lay Tae-young. Tae-young was a human merchant marine. He was 28 years old. He had dark hair and a quick smile. Velmora had treated him before for small things. A broken finger. A bad cold. He was always polite. Always grateful. Always making jokes, but now he was not joking. Now he was dying. Velmora looked at the screens above his bed. Her 4 eyes moved quickly from one number to another. Each number was worse than the last. His left lung was punctured. A piece of metal had gone through his chest. His spine had damage in 3 places. The nerves were cut. And worst of all, his body had taken in radiation. Lots of radiation. The kind that killed cells and destroyed organs. What happened? Velmora asked. Hyunwoo stepped forward. "Our ship hit some space debris. A big piece. It went right through the hull." Tae-young was in the engine room when it happened. The reactor started leaking. He stayed behind to shut it down. "He saved us all. But the radiation..." His voice broke. He could not finish. Jia grabbed Velmora's front leg. "You can save him, right? You saved Captain Molketh last year." His heart stopped for 10 minutes. "You brought him back." Velmora gently removed Jia's hand. "Captain Molketh is Vryn. His species can survive without a heartbeat for up to an hour. Tae-young is human. Humans are different." She walked to the bed. Tae-young's eyes were open. He looked at her and smiled. It was a small smile, weak, but it was there. "Hey, Doc," he said. His voice was quiet. "I messed up pretty bad this time, huh?" Velmora did not know what to say. In all her years as a healer, she had learned one rule. Never lie to the dying. It was not kind. It was not respectful. "Tae-young," she said softly. "Your injuries are too severe. The radiation damage is spreading. Your spine is broken. Your lung is failing. I cannot fix this. No one can fix this." Behind her, Jia made a sound like a wounded animal. Hyunwoo put his arm around her. Tae-young looked at the ceiling for a moment. Then he looked back at Velmora. "How long do I have?" "Hours, maybe less. I am sorry." She expected tears. She expected anger. She expected fear. Every species reacted differently to death, but they all showed emotion. Instead, Tae-young just nodded. "Okay," he said. "Can you get me some water? My throat is really dry." Velmora blinked all 4 eyes. She had told him he was dying. She had told him there was no hope. And he was asking for water. One of the medical assistants brought a cup with a straw. Tae-young took a small sip. He smiled again. "Thanks. That's better." Velmora turned to her assistants. "Begin the death preparation procedures. Make him comfortable. Give him pain medicine. We will honor his passing according to human customs." She started to walk away. There was nothing more she could do. In a few hours, Tae-young would be gone. She had seen this pattern 1,000 times before. "Doc?" She stopped and turned back. Tae-young was still smiling at her. "Don't count me out just yet. I'm tougher than I look." Velmora did not respond. She simply left the room. Denial was common in dying patients. It was sad but understandable. She would check on him in an hour. By then he would probably be unconscious. By morning he would be dead. But she was wrong. An hour later, when Velmora returned to check on Tae-young, she stopped in the doorway. The medical assistants were standing around his bed with confused looks on their faces. "What is wrong?" Velmora asked. The lead assistant pointed at the screens. "His vital signs, doctor. They are not declining. They are stabilizing. Velmora rushed to the bed. She looked at the screens. Then she looked again. The assistant was right. Tae-young's heart rate was steady. His blood pressure was low but not critical. His breathing was weak but regular. This was impossible. Run the scans again, she ordered. All of them. There must be an error. They ran the scans. There was no error. The punctured lung was still there. The broken spine was still there. The radiation damage was still there. But Tae-young was not dying. Not anymore. He was stable. Velmora stood very still. In her entire career across hundreds of species and thousands of patients, she had never seen anything like this. The injuries were fatal. They should have killed him already. But his body was fighting back. Contact Dr. Kickstal, she said quietly. Tell him we need a xenobiology specialist. Tell him it is urgent. Tell him, she paused, looking at Tae-young. He was sleeping now, his chest rising and falling in steady rhythm. Tell him we have something impossible. Dr. Kickstal arrived 6 hours later. He was a Vryn, which meant he looked like a large frog that walked on 2 legs. His skin was bright green and his huge eyes could see in darkness. He was one of the best xenobiologists in the galaxy. Velmora met him outside the medical room. She had not slept. She had spent the entire night watching Tae-young's vital signs. They stayed stable. Not improving, but not getting worse either. It made no sense. Thank you for coming so quickly, she said. Kickstal blinked his large eyes. You said it was urgent. You said it was impossible. These are words you do not use lightly, Velmora. What do we have? A human, male, 28 years old. Severe trauma. Punctured lung, broken spine, massive radiation exposure. He should have died 12 hours ago. But he did not. No, he is stable. His body is not healing, but it is not failing either. It is like his body has frozen the damage in place. Kickstal made a sound in his throat. It was the Vryn way of showing surprise. Show me. They walked into the room together. Tae-young was awake. He was talking to Jia and Hyunwoo. When he saw the doctors, he tried to sit up. Stay still, Velmora said quickly. Your spine is damaged. Moving could make it worse. Oh, right, sorry. Tae-young lay back down. He looked at Kickstal. Hi, you must be the specialist. I'm Tae-young. Sorry for all the trouble. Kickstal stared at him. You are apologizing? You are the one who is injured. Yeah, but everyone is working so hard to help me. I feel bad about it. Kickstal looked at Velmora. She saw the same confusion in his eyes that she felt. I need to run some tests, Kickstal said. Advanced scans. Cellular analysis. It will take several hours. Take all the time you need, Tae-young said. I'm not going anywhere. He smiled when he said it. For the next 4 hours, Kickstal ran every test he knew. He scanned Tae-young's cells. He measured his blood. He studied his bones. Velmora helped him. Together, they built a complete picture of what was happening inside the human's body. When they finished, they sat in Velmora's office. Kickstal spread the results across the desk. He looked at them for a long time without speaking. Well? Velmora asked finally. Kickstal pointed at one of the scans. Look at this. His cells. See how they are repairing themselves? Very slowly, but they are doing it. The radiation should have stopped all cellular activity. But it has not, he pointed at another scan. And here. His white blood cells. They are working overtime, fighting infection, cleaning up dead tissue, protecting healthy cells. I have never seen an immune system this aggressive. Another scan. His bones. The spine fractures are already starting to heal. It has only been 1 day. Vryn bones take weeks to start healing. Tytherian bones take months. What about the punctured lung? Velmora asked. The tissue around the wound has formed a seal. It is crude, but it is working. His body is keeping air in the lung. Velmora felt something she did not often feel. Wonder. How is this possible? Before Kickstal could answer, the door opened. A human man walked in. He was older, maybe 50 years old, with gray in his hair. He wore the white coat of a medical researcher. Dr. Velmora. Dr. Kickstal? I am Sun-ho. I am a human medical researcher stationed here on Crosspoint 7. I heard about your patient. I thought I might be able to help. Velmora gestured to a chair. Please, we need all the help we can get. Sun-ho sat down. He looked at the scans. He nodded slowly. Yes, this is what I expected. Your patient is experiencing a standard human stress response. Standard? Velmora could not keep the surprise from her voice. There is nothing standard about this. He should be dead. Sunho smiled gently. To you, perhaps. But to humans, this is normal. Well, extreme but not unusual. He picked up one of the scans. Let me explain. Humans evolved on Earth. Earth is a death world. A death world? Kickstall leaned forward. That is what we call it. A planet with extreme danger. Predators everywhere, diseases, poison plants, deadly weather. To survive, humans had to become very tough. Our bodies developed special systems. Sunho pointed at different parts of the scans as he talked. First, adrenaline. When humans are in danger, our bodies release this chemical. It makes our hearts beat faster. It makes us stronger. It blocks pain. Tae-young's body has been releasing adrenaline constantly since the accident. That is why he can still talk and smile. Second, endorphins. Natural painkillers, much stronger than most alien species produce. Tae-young is in terrible pain, but his brain is flooding him with endorphins. He barely feels it. Third, clotting factors. Human blood clots very quickly. Tae-young's body sealed the lung wound from the inside. It is not perfect, but it stopped the bleeding. Fourth, redundancy. Humans have 2 lungs, 2 kidneys, and can survive with only part of our liver. We can lose a lot and keep living. Velmora shook her head. But the radiation, the spine damage. These things cannot be survived. Sunho nodded. You are right. Tae-young will not fully recover without help. But his body is buying him time. Time for us to treat him. Time that other species do not have. He pulled out a data pad and showed them a file. This is human history. Records of survival. Humans have survived falls from incredible heights. Weeks without food. Days without water. Extreme cold. Extreme heat. Attacks by large predators. We have records of humans who were clinically dead. No heartbeat and came back. Kickstall took the data pad. He read in silence. His eyes grew wider and wider. This man survived being frozen solid? Yes, his heart stopped. We brought him back. This woman was struck by lightning 7 times and lived? Yes. This child fell from an aircraft and survived? Yes, humans are hard to kill, Dr. Kickstall. The door opened again. A young woman rushed in. She looked like Tae-young. Same eyes, same face shape. She was crying. Where is he? Where is my brother? Gia, who had been standing in the hallway, led her to the medical room. Velmora and the others followed. When the woman saw Tae-young, she ran to his bed. Tae-young! Oh God, they said you were dying. They said I should come right away. Tae-young smiled at her. Hey, Dae-eun. Yeah, I had a bad day at work, but I'm okay now. Well, mostly okay. Dae-eun grabbed his hand. She was still crying, but now she was laughing too. You idiot. You always do this. You always scare me. This time was not my fault. Space debris hit us. You went into a leaking reactor room. Someone had to shut it down. Everyone else has families. The gun hit his shoulder gently. I am your family, you moron. Velmora watched them. She had seen many species react to injured loved ones, but humans were different. Even in crisis, they showed love through insults and humor. It was strange but also beautiful. Dae-eun turned to the doctors. Will he be okay? Can you fix him? Velmora looked at Sunho. He nodded. We can try, Velmora said. With human physiology, there is a chance. 48 hours ago, I would have said no chance, but now I am learning that humans are full of surprises. 3 days later, something impossible happened. Tae-young sat up in bed. With help, yes. With pain, yes. But he sat up. Velmora stood in the doorway, all 4 eyes wide. Kickstall stood beside her, his mouth hanging open. This is impossible, Kickstall whispered. I am beginning to think, Velmora said slowly, that impossible is a word we should stop using around humans. 1 week after the accident that should have killed him, Tae-young took his first steps. He walked with assistance. He walked slowly, but he walked, and the entire galaxy was watching. The news spread fast, too fast. Within 3 days, every major news network in the Galactic Union was talking about the human who refused to die. They called it the Crosspoint Miracle. Some called it impossible. Others called it scary. A journalist named Jinwoo arrived at the station. He was human, young, and very excited. He had flown from Earth as soon as he heard the story. This is huge, he told Velmora. Everyone wants to know about Tae-young. Can I interview him? Velmora was not sure. He is still recovering. He needs rest. I'll do it, came a voice from behind them. Tae-young walked up slowly, using a cane. Dae-eun walked beside him, ready to catch him if he fell. If people want to know, I'll tell them. It's not a big deal. Jinwoo set up his camera. He asked Tae-young to sit, but Tae-young insisted on standing. "I've been lying down too much," he said with a smile. The interview was short. Jinwoo asked about the accident. Tae-young described it simply. He did not make himself sound brave. He just told the truth. "How does it feel to survive something that should have killed you?" Jinwoo asked. Tae-young thought for a moment. "Lucky, grateful, and really, really sore." People watching at home laughed. But many also felt something else. Fear. 2 days later, Ambassador Crixith arrived. He was a Zenthari, which meant he looked like a large lizard with sharp teeth and cold eyes. The Zenthari were a powerful species in the Galactic Union. They were also very suspicious of newcomers. Ambassador Crixith demanded a meeting with Velmora and Kixtal. He did not ask politely. He demanded. They met in the station's conference room. Crixith sat at one end of the table. He did not look happy. "I have reviewed your reports about this human," he said. His voice was cold. "I do not believe them." Velmora stayed calm. "The data is accurate. We have run every test multiple times. Then the human has been genetically modified. This is illegal under Union law." "He has not been modified," Kixtal said firmly. "We checked for that. Tae-young is a normal human. There is nothing normal about surviving these injuries. Not for your species, perhaps, but for humans it is within their natural range." Crixith leaned forward. "That is what worries me. If one human can survive this, what can all humans survive? How do we know they will not use this advantage against us?" Before anyone could answer, another human entered the room. She was a biologist named Minseo. She had been working with Sunho to study human physiology. She carried a data pad full of information. "Ambassador," she said politely, "I understand your concerns. That is why I have prepared this report. It compares human survival rates to other galactic species." She placed the data pad on the table. Everyone looked at the numbers. The results were shocking. Humans survived severe injuries 47 times more often than the galactic average. They recovered from illness faster. They healed from surgery quicker. They could work longer hours without rest. They could eat foods that were poisonous to other species. Minseo explained each point. "Humans have something we call the will to live. It is partly biological, partly psychological. When a human decides they are not going to die, their body listens. It fights harder, but why?" Crixith asked. "Why did humans evolve this way?" Minseo showed them pictures of Earth, dense jungles, vast deserts, frozen mountains, deep oceans. Our planet tried to kill us every day. Predators hunted us. Weather killed us. Plants poisoned us. Diseases spread through our tribes. The only humans who survived were the ones who refused to give up. Generation after generation, only the toughest humans lived long enough to have children. We bred ourselves to be survivors." Velmora had been studying human history. She added her own observations. "I have read about human wars. You fought each other for thousands of years. You survived weapons that would have ended other species. You adapted?" Kixtal nodded. "I read about your ancient hunters. They would chase animals for days. The animal would run. The human would walk. The animal would run again. The human would keep walking. Eventually, the animal would collapse from exhaustion. The human would still be walking. We call it persistence hunting," Minseo said. "Humans do not give up, ever. It is our greatest strength." Crixith looked at all of them. "And you see no danger in this?" "Danger?" Minseo seemed surprised. "Ambassador, humans want peace. We joined the Galactic Union because we want to be part of something bigger. We want to learn from other species. We want to help. But if you wanted war, you would be very difficult to stop." The room became quiet. Minseo looked sad. "Yes, if we wanted war, we would be dangerous. But we do not want war. We have seen what war does. We know the cost." Hyunwoo and Jia had been standing in the hallway listening. Now Hyunwoo stepped into the room. "I want to say something," he said quietly. "I am just an engineer. I am not a diplomat or a scientist, but I worked with Tae-young for 3 years. When our ship was hit, he did not think about himself. He thought about us. He went into that reactor room to save our lives. That is what humans do. We protect each other. We protect our friends. And you are our friends now. All of you. Every species in this union," Jia nodded. "Tae-young is not special. Well, he is special to us. But his actions? Any human would have done the same. We take care of each other. That is who we are." Crixith was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. I will report this to the Galactic Council. They must know about human capabilities, but I will also report what I have heard here today about human character. 2 weeks later, the Galactic Council met. Representatives from 50 species gathered to discuss the human question. Some wanted to limit human expansion into space. Others wanted to study humans more carefully. A few even suggested putting restrictions on human travel. Tae-young was invited to speak. He could walk better now, though he still felt pain. Daeun wanted him to rest, but he refused. They need to see me, he told her. They need to see that I am just a person, not a monster, not a weapon, just a guy who got lucky. The council chamber was huge. Tae-young stood at the center. Hundreds of aliens looked down at him from all sides. He felt very small. The council leader, a wise old luminary named Eshtara, spoke first. Tae-young of Earth, you have caused quite a discussion. Tell us, do you think humans are superior to other species? Tae-young shook his head. No, we are just different. Every species has strengths. Tetherians are amazing healers. Vryn can see in the dark. Xanthari are incredibly strong. We all bring something valuable. But humans are hard to kill? Yes, but that does not make us better. It makes us survivors. There is a difference. What do humans want from the galaxy? Tae-young thought carefully. The same thing everyone wants. A place to belong, friends, peace, a chance to build something good. We spent thousands of years fighting each other on Earth. We learned that fighting is stupid. Cooperation is better. That is why we are here. To cooperate, to learn, to help where we can. The council members talked among themselves. Finally, they voted. It was close, but the decision was made. Humans would not be restricted. Instead, a new institute would be created. The Human Physiology Research Institute. Its job would be to study human biology and find ways to help other species. Velamora was chosen to be the director. She accepted, though she felt overwhelmed. Kixtal and Sunho would work with her. Minseo would join them too. After the council meeting, Velamora found Tae-young in the hallway. He was sitting on a bench looking tired. How are you feeling? She asked, exhausted. Standing for that long hurt. But I am happy. I think this will be good for everyone. Velamora sat beside him. Tae-young, I must confess something. When I first met you, I thought humans were weak, fragile, but I was wrong. Humans are among the strongest species I have ever studied. Tae-young laughed. We are weak. And fragile. We just do not let that stop us. Velamora realized something important. Strength was not just about surviving. It was about getting back up after being knocked down, and humans were very, very good at getting back up. 3 months passed. The Human Physiology Research Institute opened its doors. It was located on Crosspoint 7, in a new building with the most advanced medical equipment in the galaxy. Scientists from 20 different species came to work there. They all wanted to understand humans better. Velamora stood in her new office looking out at the stars. She still could not believe how much had changed. A few months ago, she thought she understood biology. Now she realized she had been wrong about so many things. There was a knock on her door. A Korvax researcher named Thelvar entered. The Korvax looked like large birds with hands instead of wings. They were excellent at data analysis. Director Velamora, you need to see this, Thelvar said. He sounded excited and worried at the same time. What is it? Thelvar spread several data pads across her desk. I have been collecting survival data from across the galaxy. Medical records from the past 100 years. I focused on severe injuries, the kind that should be fatal. Velamora picked up one of the pads. And? Humans survive at rates 47 times higher than any other species. But it is more than that. Look at these specific cases. He showed her case after case. A human miner who survived explosive decompression. A human pilot who was poisoned by alien food and recovered in hours. A human soldier who lost a limb and continued fighting. A human child who fell from a building and walked away with minor injuries. This is not just about Tae-young, Thelvar said. This is a pattern. Humans do not die when they should. That afternoon, a human military officer arrived at the institute. Her name was Haewon. She was a colonel in Earth's Defense Forces. She carried a sealed data case. Director Velamora, I have been authorized to share classified military medical data with your institute. The human government wants you to have complete information. They sat in a secure room. Haewon opened the case. Inside were thousands of medical reports from human soldiers. These are combat survival records, Haewon explained. Humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We have very good data on what humans can survive. Velomora read through the reports. She felt her 4 eyes growing wider with each page. Soldiers who lost limbs and kept fighting. Soldiers who were shot multiple times and survived. Soldiers who went days without food or water. Soldiers who were buried alive and dug themselves out. Soldiers who fell from aircraft and lived. How? Velomora asked. How is this possible? Haywan smiled sadly. Training helps. Medical care helps. But mostly, it is determination. We train our soldiers to never quit, to keep fighting no matter what, and their bodies listen. But this seems almost supernatural. It is not supernatural. It is just human. We evolved to survive. Our ancestors who gave up died. Our ancestors who kept trying lived. After millions of years of that, we became very good at not dying. Later that week, a colony administrator named Young Sik visited the institute.
He managed a human settlement on a frontier world.
The planet was harsh, with extreme temperatures and dangerous wildlife. You should know something, Young Sik told Velomora and her team. Other species tried to colonize our world before humans arrived. Vryn colonists, Zenthari colonists, Tetherian colonists. They all failed. The conditions were too harsh. But humans succeeded? Kickstal asked. Yes, it was not easy. We lost people. But we adapted. We learned. We survived, Sun Ho nodded. This is common. Humans have colonized dozens of worlds that other species abandoned. Not because we are better, because we are stubborn. Velomora began to understand something important. Human resilience was not just biological. It was also mental. Humans believed they could survive, so they did. She and her team worked day and night. They studied human biology from every angle. They looked at human cells under microscopes. They analyzed human blood. They tested human reactions to pain, stress, fear, and exhaustion. What they found was amazing. Human cells could repair themselves faster than expected. Human blood carried oxygen more efficiently. Human bones were denser than they appeared. Human muscles could work longer without rest. And human brains, when faced with danger, became incredibly focused. But the most important discovery was about human psychology. Humans had something called hope. Even when things looked impossible, humans hoped. And that hope made their bodies fight harder. Mincio wrote a paper about it. She called it the human survival response. The paper explained how human biology and psychology work together. When a human decided to survive, their whole body changed. Adrenaline flowed. Pain decreased. Energy increased. Focus sharpened. The body became a survival machine. The paper was published across the galaxy. Scientists everywhere read it with amazement. Some were inspired. Others were frightened. Ambassador Crixith called another council meeting. This time his tone was different. Less suspicious. More thoughtful. I have reviewed all the new research, he told the council. I admit I was wrong to fear humans. Yes, they are difficult to kill. But they also use this trait to protect others. Human rescue workers go into dangerous places to save lives. Human doctors work impossible hours. Human engineers fix problems that seem unfixable. Their resilience is a gift, not a threat. The council agreed. They passed a resolution. The Human Physiology Research Institute would receive full funding. More importantly, human survival techniques would be shared with all species. Velomora and her team began developing new treatments. They created an artificial adrenaline that worked for Vryn physiology. They designed physical therapy programs based on human methods. They taught alien doctors about the power of hope and determination. Bora, a human doctor, joined the team. She worked closely with Velomora. Together, they wrote a medical textbook. It was called Applied Human Survival Medicine. It became required reading for healers across the galaxy. One day, Velomora was visiting a hospital on a Vryn colony world. A patient had been brought in with severe injuries. The local healers had given up. They said the patient would not survive. Velomora examined the patient. The injuries were bad, but not impossible. She remembered what she had learned from Tae Young. She remembered human determination. She gave the patient the artificial adrenaline. She used human-style pain management. She talked to the patient, encouraging them to fight. Do not give up, she said. I learned from a human that survival is a choice. Choose to live. The patient looked at her with weak eyes. Then slowly they nodded. 3 days later, the patient was stable. A week later, they were sitting up. A month later, they walked out of the hospital. The local healers were shocked. They asked Velmora how she did it. "I learned from the best teachers in the galaxy," she said. "I learned from humans." Back at Crosspoint 7, Tae-young had fully recovered. His spine had healed. His lung had healed. The radiation damage had faded. He was ready to return to work. But before he left, he visited Velmora one last time. "I wanted to say thank you," he said. "You saved my life." Velmora shook her head. "No, Tae-young. You saved your own life. I just watched and learned." Tae-young smiled. "Then we helped each other. That is what friends do." They shook hands. Or rather, Tae-young shook Velmora's front leg. It was an awkward gesture, but it meant everything. As Tae-young walked away, Velmora realized something profound. Humans were not just good at surviving. They were good at teaching others to survive. They shared their strength freely. They lifted others up. That was the real miracle. Not that humans were hard to kill, but that they used their toughness to help everyone else become tougher too. The galaxy was changing. Survival rates were improving across all species. Death rates from severe injuries dropped by 15% in the first year alone. Velmora's institute trained thousands of healers in human-inspired techniques. And it all started because one human refused to die when he should have. Because one human smiled in the face of death and said, "Not today." 6 months had passed since Tae-young walked out of the medical station. The galaxy was different now. Better. Safer. All because people learned to see survival differently. Velmora stood on the observation deck of the Human Physiology Research Institute. She watched ships come and go from Crosspoint 7. Each ship carried hope now. Hope that injuries could be survived. Hope that death was not always the end. Bora walked up beside her. The human doctor carried a cup of coffee. She offered one to Velmora, who politely declined. She had tried human coffee once. It tasted like burnt dirt. "We just got the latest numbers from the Galactic Medical Council," Bora said. "Survival rates are up 18% across all species." 18%. Do you know how many lives that is? Velmora did know. Millions. Millions of people who would have died were now living. All because healers learned to never give up on their patients. All because patients learned to never give up on themselves. "It is remarkable," Velmora said quietly. "You know what the best part is?" Bora smiled. "This is just the beginning. We are learning new things every day. New techniques. New approaches. Human medicine is advancing because we are learning from other species. And alien medicine is advancing because they are learning from us. Everyone wins." Just then an alarm sounded. Not a loud emergency alarm, just a soft notification. A ship in distress had sent out a signal. Velmora and Bora rushed to the communications center. The message was from a cargo vessel. They had engine trouble and were drifting near a dangerous asteroid field. One of the crew was injured. "Badly injured? What species?" Bora asked. "Zenthari," the communications officer replied. Velmora felt a moment of worry. Zenthari were tough, but they did not heal quickly. If the injuries were severe, the patient might not survive the trip to the station. "Tell them we are sending a rescue ship," Bora said immediately, "and tell them to do exactly what we say. Their crewmate can survive this." The rescue ship launched within minutes. Bora went with them. So did Kixtal and Sunho. They were the best team in the galaxy now. When they reached the damaged cargo ship, they found the injured Zenthari in bad shape. A piece of equipment had fallen on him during the engine failure. His arm was crushed. His ribs were broken. He was losing blood fast. The ship's captain looked at the rescue team with desperate eyes. "Can you save him?" "He is my brother." Bora knelt beside the injured Zenthari. She checked his vital signs. They were weak but stable. She looked up at the captain and smiled. "Yes, we can save him, but he has to want to live. Talk to him. Tell him to fight." The captain grabbed his brother's good hand. "Korvan, listen to me. You are not dying today. Do you hear me? You are going to fight. You are going to survive." The injured Zenthari opened his eyes. He looked at his brother. Then he nodded just slightly. Bora and her team went to work. They used human-inspired techniques, fast clotting agents, artificial adrenaline adapted for Zenthari biology, pain management that let the patient stay conscious but comfortable, and most importantly, constant encouragement. "You are doing great, Korvan," Sunho said as he worked. "Your body is fighting. Help it fight. Stay with us." The trip back to Crosspoint 7 took 2 hours. 2 hours during which Korvan could have died at any moment. But he did not die, he fought, and his body responded. By the time they reached the medical station, Korvan was stable. Velmora met them at the entrance. She saw the look on Bora's face and knew immediately they had succeeded. 5 days later, Korvan was sitting up in bed. His arm was in a cast and his ribs still hurt, but he was alive. His brother never left his side. Velmora came to check on him. "How are you feeling?" Korvan looked at her with grateful eyes. "I should be dead. The doctors on my homeworld would have given up on me. But your team did not give up. That is what we learned from humans," Velmora said. "Never give up. Every patient deserves a chance to fight." That evening there was a small celebration at the Institute. Nothing fancy, just the team and a few friends. Tae-young came too. He had finished his latest cargo run and stopped by to visit. Everyone wanted to meet him. The human who started it all, the man who refused to die, a young Zenthari child approached him shyly. It was Korvan's nephew, a boy named Jae-hyun. Wait, that was not right. The boy was named Krix, but his human friends called him Jae-hyun. Many young aliens were taking human names now. It was a sign of respect. Actually, the child was human. A young boy visiting with his parents who worked at the Institute. His name was Jae-hyun. He looked at Tae-young with wide, curious eyes. "Are you really the man who would not die?" the boy asked. Tae-young laughed. He knelt down to the boy's level. "I am just the man who was too stubborn to give up. Just like you will be someday if you need to be." "I want to be tough like you," Jae-hyun said seriously. "You already are tough. All humans are. All people are, actually. We just have to remember it sometimes." The child smiled and ran back to his parents. Tae-young stood up and found Velmora watching him. "He will remember this conversation his whole life," she said. "You are a symbol now. A reminder that survival is possible." Tae-young shook his head. "I am just a cargo hauler who got lucky." "No, you are more than that. You changed how the galaxy thinks about life and death. That is not luck. That is impact." Later, Counselor Eshtara arrived. The ancient luminary floated into the room, glowing softly. Everyone stopped talking. Eshtara rarely left the council chambers. Her presence meant something important was happening. "Director Velmora," Eshtara's voice was like music. "I bring news from the council. Your institute has been awarded the Galactic Medal of Achievement. This honor is given only once every 100 years, to those who change the galaxy for the better." Everyone in the room started clapping. Velmora felt overwhelmed. She had not expected this. "I cannot take credit alone," she said. "This achievement belongs to everyone here. To Dr. Kixtel, Dr. Sunho, Dr. Bora, and so many others. And most of all to Tae-young, who showed us what survival really means." Eshtara turned her glow toward Tae-young. "Indeed. Young human, you have given the galaxy a great gift. Not just your survival, but your spirit. You faced death and smiled. You showed us that hope is more powerful than fear." Tae-young did not know what to say. He just bowed respectfully. That night, after everyone had gone home, Velmora stayed in her office. She looked at all the research they had done, all the lives they had saved, all the hope they had created. She thought about the first time she met Tae-young, how she had told him he would die, how she had been so certain, how wrong she had been. Humans had taught her the most important lesson of her career. Never assume death is inevitable. Never stop fighting for your patient. Never give up hope. 3 years later, Tae-young was the captain of his own cargo ship. His crew was mixed, humans and aliens working together. They had just finished a supply run to a colony world when they received a distress signal. A small research vessel was in trouble. Their life support was failing. They had 2 days of air left, maybe less. Tae-young looked at his crew. Hyunwoo was his engineer now. Jia was still his communications officer. They had stayed together, the 3 survivors of that terrible accident. "It will be dangerous," Hyunwoo said, checking the coordinates. "That area has unstable gravity fields. We could damage our ship trying to reach them." "If we do not go, they will die," Jia said simply. Tae-young smiled. It was the same smile he had given Velmora 3 years ago. The smile that said he was not going to give up. "Not ever. Then we go. Set course for the research vessel. Let us show them what humans do best." "What do we do best?" asked a young Vrin crew member. Tae-young looked at his crew, at the mix of species working together. "We survive. And we help others survive, too. That is what the galaxy is about now. Not just surviving alone, but surviving together." They flew into the gravity fields. It was dangerous. The ship shook and groaned. Warning alarms went off, but they did not turn back. They pushed forward, just like Tae-young had pushed forward in that medical room 3 years ago. They reached the research vessel with hours to spare. They rescued all 6 crew members. Everyone made it home safely. On Crosspoint 7 in the Human Physiology Research Institute, Velmora heard about the rescue. She smiled with all 4 eyes. She was not surprised. That was what humans did. That was what everyone did now, after learning from humans. They did not accept defeat. They did not give up on each other. They fought for survival, not just for themselves, but for everyone. The galaxy was safer now, not because of weapons or shields, but because of hope, because of determination, because of the lesson one human taught by refusing to die when he should have. That lesson spread to every world, every species, every person. When faced with impossible odds, when death seemed certain, they remembered Tae-young. They remembered his smile. They remembered his words, "Do not give up. Do not accept defeat. Survival is a choice." And they chose to live. The end.